Hi there, this is Justin. In this video, I'm going to teach you a smart way at looking at your end of funnel metrics. For this example, we're going to take new customers for a SaaS business as our example. So what you see in front of you is a mock-up table that I made showing for the last 3 months the number of new customers that was generated for this business that are on the monthly and annual subscriptions. If you're working for a SaaS company, you probably have a report of some kind that looks very similar to this. Now, let's just say we're, today is the 13th of March when I'm recording this, and these are your numbers. Okay, you can see in January we had 765 new customers, February went up and we had 825, and right now we've got 312. Okay, we're almost halfway through the month, so it looks like we're behind pace. But are we really? Well, the problem with this view in its current form, you can't really know that because we don't know the pacing. We can do a quick calculation and see, based on just, an average of 13 days into the month, and we could, guesstimate that we're behind, but we really don't know. So another way to look at this is by having a version which is month to date. So if we look at the month to date version, we actually see we're ahead of the curve, right? So at the same point of time, 13 days into the month, for February had 298 customers, and January is 261. So March we're actually ahead. Right now, why? Maybe the pace picks up at the end of the month. We don't really know, but just by doing a comparison of the first 13 days, we have, we can see that March we're actually ahead, and February was ahead of January. So overall, the trend's looking really, really nice. Now, this video is not going to go into detail of how to create such a view, in a tool like Tableau or Power BI. But if that's something that you would find valuable, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll happily create a version for you. If you have access to the raw data, which, you must have access to the raw data if you're going to create such a table, you just need the dates of when the customers become customers, and you could, do it in Excel quite easily by taking the, converting your dates to a date part for the day of the month, and then, setting a filter. Another way to look at, break down these numbers, if we're taking, for example, customers, but you could really do this for any metric that you care about, is to segment it a bit further. So a really powerful way to look at end of funnel metrics like customers, or maybe start a trial, even though that wouldn't be end of funnel necessarily, that'd be kind of closer to the beginning of the funnel, is to break down the users by the cohort of when they became users to begin with, right? So if you think of customers, they're right at the end of the journey. Depending on the type of business, they could be free users for months, even years in some cases, and then they, see the real value and they decide to convert, or they become mature as users and then they convert to being a customer. So a nice way to do that is by using essentially a date diff formula, where you're essentially taking the month that they're becoming a customer and then break it down by when they became a user in relation to when they became a customer. So if I take January, for example, in January, the difference between January and January would be 0, right? December to January would be -1 because it's 1 month back, right? November would be -2 and October would be -3. Now, why do you do it like this and not just the dates? Well, this is just going to make it a much cleaner table, right? Because 0 of January would be January, 0 of February would be February, -1 of February would be January, while -1 of January would be December. right? So by just using the date diff, the count of number of months going back, you would just have, everything would be normalized. So if we're looking at month to date, and we're now breaking it down using the date diff, we can start seeing what's contributing to our totals. And this can be very powerful, because if you have enough data, you can start to understand what's the word I'm looking for? Like basically the speed that things are happening. So if we look at January as an example, we had 261 customers month to date, and 130 of them were from January. So basically we can say up until the 13th day of the month, half of January's total up until that point were from users that became users of customers that became users in January. Now February we see the same trend, right? So we see 50%. If we look at March, we now actually see it's a bit behind, but it's being made up by older cohorts. So by breaking it down like this, you can start to actually paint a much broader picture of what's going on. So in this example, I can say quite confidently that it looks like February and January were strong cohorts in terms of user signups, with more people signing up 1 and 2 months later than previously. But the current cohort of users signing up in March is poor in terms of totals, right? Now, obviously, you'd want to go take a step back, look at how many people are signing up, look at that conversion rate, etc. But I got this idea for this video, from a client of mine that's made some recent changes, and even though their total numbers look quite good, I was able to point out that the trajectory for the current month was bad, because the cohort, the segmentation, the distribution of the current month's customer base was off in relation to what was coming in. So this is kind of a third level of breaking down, your end of funnel metrics. So just to quickly summarize, this would be kind of level 1, where we're just seeing what's going on. Level 2 would be something like month to date, where you can do a more cleaner, understanding, are we ahead of the curve or behind. Obviously, you really need to know your business. There might be a ton of seasonality, or especially if you're early stage, you might be doing a ton of marketing activities, which are going to create a huge amount of variance in both top and bottom of your funnel. You'd really want to understand, you need to have full context, especially if you're an early stage company. And then the third way would be, sticking with something like month to date, but being able to break down the customers in different ways. Obviously, here I forgot to mention, but in this example, we're just sticking with the monthly totals. I believe I did. No, I actually screwed that up, but you get the idea. Obviously, you would want to separate monthly and annual, just because there's probably quite a big difference between those customers. But anyway, I'm rambling a bit, and I'm going to stop here. If you have any questions on this concept, or you would like me to expand on this concept in another video, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.